When going into this project, I decided I wanted a wyvern that more resembled that of a red dragon for purposes of a story campaign thing I'm working on for when things eventually get better and I can start playing with my group again. With that in mind, I started painting this mini with a Chaos Black spray paint to give it its initial base color of a darker color. And once that dried, I went ahead and painted the whole thing, with the exception of the rock on the bottom. I painted it all with a Mephiston red base color. I followed that up by coloring the mountainous part, the rock at the base, with a Morning Fang brown. And I initially used a little bit of Averland Sunset inside the mouth of the creature, with the idea that it would have more of a yellowish black color as an end result. Once the base colors were applied, I went over the entire the entire wyvern with a contrast Magos purple. I went with the purple over something like black because I felt in the end the purple might help look visually better with the red rather than just a base black over it. I also used a contrast Talassar blue over the rock, as I thought the blue might look nicely whenever I went over it with base color again for some of its shadows. And I used a little bit of contrast Black Templar inside the mouth with the idea that it would create a dark yellow without needing to mix my yellow with black, because they usually results in a very muddy and unpleasant looking yellow. Once I gave the contrast colors time to dry, the result of the wyvern was a bit unexpected, as the wings it dried much darker than I thought, but in the end I ended up liking the look of it, so I decided to keep it that way. With the contrast colors dried, I went over the front of my wyvern with an Ungor flesh color. When you look at the art of a red dragon, its front side has more of a yellowish orangish color, if I remember correctly. So using what I had, I thought this would be a nice representation for that, which is why I ended up coating its entire underside up to the tail with that color. Following that, I used a Kislev flesh for the horns, the spine, the stinger, and the claws on the wing. With these two flesh colors applied, they were visually distinct, and I was thinking perhaps I should change one of them at some point, but I decided to continue on anyway and just see what it looked like later and decide if I liked the end result or not before going through time to change one of them. I went back to my red color to touch up any slight mistakes that happened while coating a new base onto the wyvern's body, and to my brown onto the rocks to give it that more earthy look. And now it definitely highlights the blue underneath this shadows, as I thought it might. I also applied a bit of the Kislev flesh to some of the scales around the mini to help them pop out a bit more so they weren't just a red color. After that, I did a few more touch-ups with reds and browns and various flesh colors to cover over any details I felt I missed or just needed to be touched up slightly. And with those done, I gave the wyvern itself one more coating of the contrast Magos purple, so its entire body would be coherent to its scales and wings. And I finished up by giving the teeth some white and a bit of Troll Slayer orange for its eyes. Travelers in the wild sometimes look to the skies to see the dark-winged shape of a wyvern carrying its prey. These cousins to the great dragons hunt the same tangled forest and caverns as their kin. Their appearance sends ripples of alarms through the borderlands of civilization. A wyvern has 2 scaly legs, leathery wings, and a sinewy tail topped with its most potent weapon, a poison stinger. The poison in a wyvern stinger can kill a creature in seconds. Extremely potent, wyvern poison burns through its victim's bloodstream, disintegrating veins and arteries on its way to the heart. As deadly as wyverns can be, however, hunters and adventurers often track them to claim their venom, which is used in alchemical compounds and to coat weapons. Aerial hunters. A wyvern doesn't fight on the ground unless it can't reach its prey by any other means, or it has been fooled into a position from which aerial combat isn't an option. If forced into a confrontation on the ground, a wyvern crouches low, keeping its stinger poised above its head as it hisses and growls. Aggressive and relentless. A wyvern intent on its prey backs down only if it sustains serious injury or if its prey eludes it long enough for another, easier potential meal to wander along. If it corners a fleeing creature in an enclosed too small to enter, a wyvern guards where the quarry hides, lashing with its stinger whenever opportunity allows. Although they possess more cunning than ordinary beasts, wyverns lack the intelligence of their draconic cousins. As such, creatures that maintain their composure as a wyvern hunts them from the air can often elude or trick it. Wyverns follow a direct path to their prey, with no thought given to possible ambushes. Tamed wyverns. A wyvern can be tamed for uses as a mount, but doing so presents a difficult and deadly challenge. Raising one as a hatchling offers the best results. However, a wyvern's violent temperament has cost the life of many a would-be master. And there we have it, my red-scaled wyvern. I think it turned out pretty neat. A bit unexpected, but the front part ended up becoming more purplish red than I expected. So it kind of lost that vibrant yellow fleshy color that I initially had on it, as well as the spikes and horns on its back. But even though that was unexpected, I still like how the end result looks. So yeah, first mini I painted in a while. Well, it's been several months since I did videos consistently, and even longer since I did a painting videos. So yeah, I'm gonna try and start doing more mini paintings soon-ish. Yeah, like I briefly mentioned at the very beginning of this video, I'm working on a campaign thing for when I can eventually run a game again for my group, because we play in person there's a conflict going on between two factions. Well, it's about to happen. I put the players right smack dab in the middle right before the conflict begins, but there's a faction of red scales and black scales, one from the mountains, one from the swamps, respectively. So the players are right there at the beginning before that conflict happens, but in the one session we did run, they met members of both factions, or at least a member. So eventually I'll also try and do a black scaled wyvern, but I want to do some other things before I get to that, especially since it's going to be a while before we play again. But yeah, it was nice to paint something again. I plan to do more, and I hope that you, the viewer, got something out of this. And with that being said, I hope you enjoyed, and thank you for watching.